Why, hello there everyone. I'm the Kumo Sensei, and yeah, welcome back to another late night random live stream. And yes, as the title says, I am injured. I basically sprained my foot again. My left foot exactly. It's not so great. It's not severe, but this one is not as bad, but also it's quite unnerving to an extent. I guess the best way to put it is that this injury, even though it's minor and it should heal within 2 to 3 days, it is a sign of weakening tendons, I guess you could say. Which is pretty interesting because that's basically what strained ankles is when your tendons are basically stretched beyond of what it should be. So basically what happened was I was basically dancing, long story short, and then I basically strained one of my ankle tendons. This one was not as severe physically as compared to the first time I sprained my ankle, but after an x-ray and some examinations, it turns out my nerves around my ankles is not so great, put it that way. So I'm not really going to be training my legs, specifically anything that revolves around squats or putting pressure on where my ankles are. I can't really do any of those bodyweight exercises. So today I was basically stuck just doing some sit-ups, Russian twists, pull-ups, and bench press, and some curls, and some delt workouts, and back workouts a little bit, but nothing in terms of legs because my ankle is going to heal within 2 to 3 days, but I do gotta figure out what I'm going to do dealing with my tendons because my tendons are a bit deteriorated, essentially, is what I'm saying, because of how worn out they are. And it's really just because I've been working a bit too much on myself, honestly. This includes both physical workouts and just working in general. So, if you're wondering what is my injury, that's basically what it is. One of my tendons got strained when I was dancing, essentially. And although it will heal within 2 to 3 days, based on what I was told after an examination at the hospital, I don't want to say my dancing career is over, but it was recommended that I don't do any sort of training or dancing involving footwork or leg work. So I'm not gonna lie, I did cry because how frustrating it is. It's not because the injury won't heal, it's just the fact that I'm in a position where it's basically going to get worse if I just keep doing what I'm doing, essentially, because my tendons are a bit deteriorated and the nerves got damaged pretty bad. So what happened was while I was dancing, the nerve, when I finally sprained one of my minor tendons, I legit felt a jolt run up my leg. And basically what ended up happening was that it felt like electricity zapped my leg, my left leg. It hurt really bad, just put it that way. And I fell on my butt in front of everybody. Kind of embarrassing, but that's what happened. So, yeah. Now I'm just trying to figure out what now. I will probably find some sort of training or some sort of thing to help strengthen my tendons, especially around my ankles or my foot, essentially. Because it's basically what I'm being told is that at this point I'm going to get like really, really bad cramps, arthritis and stuff as I get older if I keep wearing out my foot like I am right now. So basically it was a good day and a bad day. So now I'm having this existential crisis of like, what the heck do I do now? So, number one, I gotta change up my training now, essentially. So I'm gonna do a lot of tendon strengthening. Basically, yoga. I don't do yoga that often, but yoga does help out with tendons, especially the flexibility in the tendons. So I'm going to apply a bit of yoga into my balance of my left foot and right foot to help it out, so that way it doesn't get too worn out. And I will actually step back a little bit from over excessive leg workouts. So anything like leg presses, squats, we're cutting those off the equation. In terms of dancing, we're gonna try to avoid using footwork just so it doesn't become severe. And as for work, such as my part-time grocery store job, I'm gonna need to find some sort of work around everybody. That's kind of why I'm making this live stream. I wasn't planning on streaming today, but it just kind of happened, just put it that way, out of the plain blue with this injury. The injury is not severe, as I stated. It's just the fact that, basically, based on the scans, x-rays, and examinations, at this point where it's going, I'm going to either be disabled on my left leg, or I'm going to be at a point where I'm going to be facing a lot of leg injury and a lot of leg pain as I get older. So, we got to switch up training. In terms of dieting, I didn't ask about dieting, so I'm pretty certain my diet is fine. It's just basically trying to find a new adaptation for my legs, specifically the tendons around my foot, which is where the ankle is. It's just a lot. I know I made it sound very simple, but in reality, it's a lot. Just put it that way. I just can't wrap my head around it. And I know this is not necessarily good news, quote unquote, but I guess I could use this time to actually start stepping back on myself a little bit. And I was notified that we did hit 4,000 subscribers here on the channel. I'm still working on the 4,000 subscriber special video because for some odd reason, I don't know why, but there's a couple of problems with it so far. One, it sounds more like a romance examination rather than a hentai review 4K subspecial. Another problem is that some of the content is kind of, it keeps getting, I want to say age restricted, but it keeps getting shadow blocked essentially. Because I did upload a couple of private testing videos, and it seems like age restriction is the one thing that keeps getting thrown on. So I'm just trying to find workarounds, I guess. Because even though it is a hentai review, quote unquote, I do want it to be more friendly to people. Because my examination and my taste in 18 plus stuff is not like Gooner type of material. Yes, Hop. That is the plan. This was basically a joke, but it is official now. Yes, it is a hentai review. But it's not a ongoing series hentai review. It's just a one-shot, 18-page story. It's a short story. It's only 18 pages, but it's one that I truly like. And it's not anything Gooner material. It's more of a vanilla / romance hentai, so it's not going to be like anything sexual, if you understand what I'm saying. It's really romantic. Hello there, John Knight. It's good to see you again, John. But yeah, to recap, the 4K subscriber special video is happening, and also, yes, I suffered another sprain, but this one is not as physically severe, but more of long-term severe. The Gooner Sensei, no, it's not. This is the thing everybody kind of needs to understand about me. I am not the type of person that reads 18 plus material to goon, because my personal preferences is romance in terms of the 18 plus stuff. Vanilla, emotional, and then romance as like my 18 plus hentai stuff. Daijoubu desu ka? Hey, genki desu. I'm fine. It's just that I had to change my training now because of this leg injury. Well, this minor sprain. So basically, John, you missed out the beginning, but I had it examined. I sprained it when I was dancing today. And basically they said that my sprains and stuff is going to become more and more severe over time if I don't get it in check. Because there's basically signs of wear and tear on my tendons around my foot. Specifically around the ankle area where the foot connects to the leg. So when I sprained my foot today, even though the injury wasn't physically as painful, the nerves around my leg, I felt it jolt up on my left leg. It was really bad. So I had to basically start changing my training around. Went to a dermatologist appointment yesterday. Oh, that's nice. Dermatologist. I believe a dermatologist is in charge of, they examine skin, I believe, like skincare and stuff like that. Very nice. But, yeah. I suffered a minor sprain, which basically, through CTE, x-ray scans, is going to get more and more severe. So if I keep spraining my leg at this point due to my weakened tendons and overuse of training on my legs, especially the foot area that connects to my legs, I'm basically either going to be disabled or I'm going to have a lot of leg problems as I get older. But I'll figure it out, everybody. It will heal in 2 to 3 days because this one is very, very minor compared to the first one. But I just want people to understand that, which is why I'm making this live stream. But as for the 4K subspecial video, I am not halfway done yet. Just put it that way. I'm still at the beginning, if I'm being completely honest. And it's really just because, I don't know, I keep creating it, and then I keep scrapping, because, like, I'm creating, throwing away, scrapping, restarting over and over again. Because I don't like the approach, the original approach. I scrapped it twice already. This is the 3rd time I'm working on the 4K subspecial. Because what anime sensei would you want as your own teacher? Great teacher Onizuka. That'd be my teacher. No, I'm kidding. It depends on what you mean by teacher. I am going to talk about some anime from this season, actually, and give you my honest thoughts and opinions in just a second. And I will talk about more anime in my next live stream on Saturday, but in terms of what anime sensei would I like to have, I don't really know. I really don't know. I did have a teacher in my senior high school. She was Japanese, and she was very short and very punk style-esque. She was awesome, though. She was definitely probably the closest to a real-life anime sensei I would get. She really gave us, she gave us more like Great Teacher Onizuka vibes. Really cool teacher I had, though. Yeah, she was Japanese. She was my Japanese teacher. She basically taught mathematics, for those who are wondering. That was my history of Japanese. It's kind of funny because, like, she would always call me out whenever I was watching anime in class, but I didn't really care though, because I had a pretty good grades in her class. She was extremely short. I would say she was like 150 centimeters-ish. Like, that's like 5 foot, 5'2", 5'1", or something like that, or 5 foot. She's very short. Probably the shortest Japanese woman I've ever, like, seen in person. True story, by the way. That was my Japanese teacher. Huh. So this cardboard here, I use it for 2 reasons. 1, to block out light, or to reflect light. And 2, I use it to keep sound, you know, closed in. So that way it doesn't sound echoey at times, especially at night where everybody is sleeping. And I don't want to wake up people like neighbors or things like that. So that's the reason why I use this, just for those 2 reasons. My favorite manga of all time? I have a few. I don't have a favorite manga, quote-unquote, of all time. A Bride's Tale is pretty cool. Vagabond is pretty cool, but that would never finish. Berserk, I like Berserk, but I can only read it here and there. I can't read it like in one setting. It feels more satisfying to read Berserk like if I'm feeling it. I have yet to actually read Vinland Saga, but maybe I'll start reading that sometime soon. JoJo's a good manga to read, especially part 7. There's a lot of pretty good mangas out there. Interesting DIY setup. Yep, pretty cheap. Originally, I was gonna soundboard this cardboard here to make like a somewhat like a soundproof hang up wall thing sort of with this cardboard here, but I kind of put that on hold because things keep happening and I just get super lazy. But this is how I voice act at night if I'm trying to audition for stuff. Interesting, but it works. Sound is very important, just put it that way, especially when you're voice acting. I don't want sound to be echoey. So like, for people who think I just talk to a mic whenever I'm making voice acting videos, there's more to it. A lot of editing has to go into mixing and basically making sure that my audio sounds crisp. And also, I had to make sure that it doesn't sound echoey. I don't like the echoey sound. It's not professional for voice acting. So that's why sometimes voice acting videos can take quite a bit of time to make, such as, you know, the ones that I've been making recently. Those take a lot of effort, and I'm truly proud of them too. So, yeah, I hope everybody enjoys my voice acting stuff. You know, it's a lot to do actually. But I will talk about anime now actually, because I have caught up on some of this anime stuff that I've been wanting to watch. Since this injury, I just gotten home and I just started watching anime, so I might as well talk about this, right? Alright. So here we are, everybody. We're jumping now. So we're gonna be talking about the animes for this season, quote unquote. Because I'm finally caught up, and let us actually talk about some anime real quick, everybody. Now, I'm going to go more in depth about this on Saturday, so I'm just going to do a quick thoughts on each of these series that I've seen so far. So, let's work our way down. Solo Leveling Season 2. It's pretty good. More anime than the manhwa is, but still pretty good though. I wouldn't say this is a one-of-a-kind series, it's not. It's more so of a power scaling OP character type of anime. So if you go into that perspective, it's fine. Next, Sakamoto Days. I love this series a lot. I think people talk down on this series too much because they want like top tier animation, but I think for what it offers, it's really good. Definitely underrated. Well, it's not underrated, but I think it deserves more hype. Just what I'm saying. The Apothecary Season Diary Season 2, Kusuriya no Hitorigoto second season. So I actually think this is an amazing series. Mao Mao and Jinshi's chemistry, husband and waifu material here. Love this. Dr. Stone's Science Future. I love Dr. Stone. I think that like it lost a lot of hype in between seasons, but I'm super excited and I'm pretty sure this should be the last season. If not, then maybe one more season. Same here, Hop. I think Sakamoto Days is pretty good. My Happy Marriage Season 2. This show here, this is what I love about romance animes. I am trying to get in professionally Saga in terms of voice acting. Because remember, I come from an acting background of 9 years as a stage actor, so I'm trying to transition into voice acting officially. Whether it's an independent game or something like that. Indie games, indie projects, anything for a start. But anyways though, My Happy Marriage Season 2, I'm going to go more into depth about this on Saturday, everybody. But as of now, great series. 100 Girlfriends. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. 100 Girlfriends. I am not caught up with the series, but I know everybody loves this series a lot. Look, I know it's a harem, obviously, but the guy has Riz, so pretty interesting. Getting married. I'm getting married to the girl I hate in my class. Class no daikara. Class no daikira na joshi no kekkon sauru koto ni naru. I have yet to see this, but maybe someday. Zenshu is actually a okay. I have a lot to say about this here. Zenshu. This is a very... Is this technically an isekai, if I'm being transparent here, but it is by Mappa too. This is a series I'm going to go into depth on Saturday. I'll just say that this is a very... It's kind of underrated, but at the same time, it's very interesting. And then the guild receptionist fantasy here. Ria Takahashi, amazing voice actor for the main character, Clover. But it's not like one of a kind of anime, but this is just a fun to watch anime on the weekly basis, you know? Honey Lemon Soda. The manga is better. The English dub is good though. That's all I gotta say. I have a crush at work. Kono kaisha ni suki na hito ga imasu. I don't know, this might be a... I'm gonna pass on this one for now. Even though it is romance, and it is a more mature romance with adults, probably should check it out sometime in the future. Another romance. I'm gonna pass on this one too. Okay, let us actually talk about Hanako-kun Season 2. I actually think this anime kind of deserves a remake. But I love this series though. So, there's a reason why I say things like it deserves a remake. And really it's just because it cuts out a lot of content. I am not caught up on Season 2 yet. Or some of the specials that was released. But I need to get caught up though. Salaryman Isekai. I've seen clips. Not for me. And then this one here, Amiku Takao or Amiku MD. This is basically House, the anime. I've seen memes on that. Still haven't seen it. Skip. Pass. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I passed on a lot of these here, and it's not because they're bad. It's just because, you know, not for me personally. Blue Exorcist. I love Blue Exorcist, but I have to admit something. The fact that it keeps changing anime studios, and the fact that like there's not much like people talking about it, it kind of hurts. But just to give you a scope of perspective, just real quick, before I go more in depth about it on Saturday, it's been a very long time of Blue Exorcist anime. If you look at it from when it came out in 2011 and where it is now, that's 14 years gap. So I'll go more into depth about this on Saturday. Yubel Blatt. I think the manga is better. No disrespect. And then Okinawa. The Okinawan Girl anime. I've seen clips, but this one just doesn't interest me. No disrespect to these series though. Skip this one. Unnamed Memory Act 2. I loved Unnamed Memory, but the light novel is significantly better. But anime's okay. Skip. I know everybody's talking about Medalist, but this is just not for me personally. Magic Maker Isekai, pass. Grisaya Phantom Trigger. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion about this real quick. And when it comes to the Grisaya series, I really would just play the Eroge instead. Play the visual novel. Pass. I think everything else here is a pass, actually. Yeah, okay, that's basically it. And we're not going to talk about ReZero here because, you know, I feel like ReZero is kind of like cheating because it's a league on its own. But I do. But that's basically my short thoughts so far for this season. Now that I'm caught up with most of these. Now, like I stated, I don't want to talk about it too in depth because I do want to make this stream kind of short because it is kind of late and I do work tomorrow. But that's just my overall short thoughts. On Saturday, I'm going to give you my like full thoughts and break it down one by one on their strengths, weaknesses, production, and direction. Because I could just go on and on just talking about like my opinions, but I do want to go into depth about the voice acting, some of the production, the staff in the studio, because some of these anime adaptations, while they're not bad necessarily, their approach to how it's made is very interesting, different from what I would expect, but not in a bad way in some cases, but strangely different. Have you read 20th Century Boys or watched Monster? I've read and watched Monster already. That's a really good series. I do think the manga is more intense in terms of how it's sketched and drawn, but the anime is good. 20th Century Boys, I have yet to actually read or check out 20th Century Boys Hop, but I have the general gist of what it is though. Like I have people who tells me what it is about, so I have a general idea of what it is about, but I have yet to actually check it out, like 20th Century Boys entirely. I know that is very twisty, just put it that way. It has a lot. But that is my overall thoughts of this season so far. It's actually not that bad. And that is pretty interesting to say. A lot of variety. So, and when I say a lot of, there's a lot of different. This season, in my personal opinion, is very diverse in a good way. Because, like, I don't know. I actually thought that the direction we were heading in terms of anime was either going to be isekais, rom-coms, or like shonen masterpieces like Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, and those type of stuff. But to see a mix of variety here of different things, I'm truly pleased with the season. Not to mention the voice casting is amazing. Amazing seiyus and amazing voice actors for both Japanese and English dub. Still waiting for some English dubs for some of these series, but overall not so bad actually. Now there are some things I do have concerns about, especially let me scroll back up here. Sorry everybody. I think the one I'm going to have a lot to talk about is Solo Leveling Season 2. Because I know people are praising it, but I have some nitpicks. It's not nitpicks, but it's kind of my minor concerns. And that is the adaptations between manhwa into anime. Remember, manhwa is Korean manga. It's not manga. But this is kind of hard to explain. You really have to respect the art form of what manhwa is. Manhwa is like if you combined comic book style with manga style. Like watching Solo Leveling Season 2's anime is amazing. I'm not gonna take anything away from that, but it does raise a concern on the idea of changing things a little bit. If you read the manhwa of Solo Leveling, you know there are minor changes. The question is like how much of the minor things are they going to keep changing? Because little things do add up. But I'm going to save that for Saturday. And it's going to be very interesting though. So that is going to be Saturday's live stream. We're just going to be talking about anime mostly. And then the second half of the live stream, I am going to use that to basically, I guess, practice a bit of voice acting for you guys, because my last my last live stream, I believe, people were asking, will I teach voice acting? I'm not necessarily qualified to teach voice acting, quote unquote, but I will teach you a bit about acting. I think I can do that at least for my viewers here. So that's going to be the plan for Saturday's live stream. And I don't really know if I'm going to do another live stream in between that. Like, so for example, tomorrow after work, another late night live stream, like a late night live stream. I don't know, maybe not. It's really just up in the airs. But it really depends, because this injury on my foot here, this light sprain, is kind of the reason why I'm just not too sure about this week right now, because it was basically a monkey wrench that happened. And yes, my sprained ankle is fine. It's not that severe in comparison to the first sprain I had, but it's the fact that basically what I was told. They said that at this point, my foot has been, my ankles, quote unquote, and the tendons surrounding my foot are so overdone. Basically, they're so overused and so worn out that the tears on my tendons and my muscles around my ankles, they're not... Okay, I'm lying. Some of it is permanent damage, as in minor permanent damage. So, the question is now... It's just so frustrating. I'm trying to stay calm, but I'm actually just kind of like, what do I do now? I'm not gonna throw away dancing and the things I love to do, but it also means that I need to change my ways. If I don't, I'm just gonna end up with torn, disabled legs. That could be a possibility, they said. They said that in the next 10 to 20 years from now, if I keep going down this road with torn, sprained ankles and things like that, and overly used tendons, they said I could be disabled. I could become disabled. Not as in like I can't walk anymore, but like as in I can't walk normally. Basically walking with a limp. So... that's why I'm doing this random late night live stream, everybody. It's really just to get it off my chest, and basically to tell you viewers as well. Because, let's be honest, I did not see this coming. I was at a... let's just say I was at a dance place, quote unquote. And I decided to have a little bit of a fun little dance battle. And I did some footwork. But I leaned a bit into my left foot again, and I felt the sprain immediately, but it was not so bad, not so severe. But what really hurt was that I felt the nerves being pressured by that sprained ankle, and my nerves ran up my left leg to where like it hurt so bad I fell on my butt. So the physical tear wasn't... it's not a tear, the physical sprain wasn't so bad. It was more of the nerves that were damaged because of it. And yes, my foot did start swelling up like a balloon. It swelled up relatively quickly. So, a colleague, quote unquote, I guess you could put it that way, a colleague, or a few colleagues of mine, they basically took me in my car. I sat in the passenger seat, and then they basically drove me to the hospital, and that's basically how we got to where we are now. Do you strengthen your joints and do mobility work? Yes, I do strengthen my joints and my mobility because I'm a dancer, but it's just the fact that, like, I've overdone it, essentially, is what I'm trying to tell you. So I am trying to change my training to where, like, I'm still strengthening my joints, but not overdoing it. So maybe one of my ideas is probably start trying some yoga movements for mobility and to strengthen my joints. But really the joints is not what matters, it's more of the tendons. That is the big issue here though, Saga. Just for clarification, tendons and joints are not the same. Just so like you don't get it twisted. But so we gotta start training our tendons now. This is going to be the thing. You see, I'll be lying if I said I knew what I was doing, but things is like it's basically like training, honestly. When you're first starting out working out, training at the gym for the first time, it's really just trial and error, and you just kind of had to work your way up from there. In terms of tendons, yoga is probably the go-to I'm going to start doing again. worked with me when I was trying to get better at dancing for flexibility, so it should have worked the same. And then I definitely got to lighten the load off from actually training my legs in terms of squats and things like that, because I don't want to overdo it. So I'm not going to be skipping leg day, but I'm going to be lightening the weight on it. So basically, lightweight, max reps. That's probably the main goal at this point. But I am super confused right now, just like everybody else, in terms of my injury. But I guess I can use this time to just slowly fix up and finish up, you know, the 4K subscribers special with the with the hentai manga review that I want to talk about. It's not that long of a video, but it should just be enough, I guess. I don't want to use too much footage because it's going to get copyrighted or get censored, quote unquote, age restricted, which is what has been happening with some of the test footage I've tried out. It's a working process for that 4K subspecial. It may come out within the next week or two, but really I just gotta find a way to put in footage. That's really the main problem. The audio is already basically done, or mostly done, that is. I think people will find it interesting for my 4K subscriber special video, because really it's not really a guy trying to tell people to read this gooning or this gooner type of hentai. That's not what I'm aiming for. It's more so of just breaking down a character. Not breaking down a character, breaking down a short story in a very fascinating and in a romantic sense. Because I am not one of those people that can just read any kind of hentai because they want to. I mean, I could, and I do once in every now and then, but I don't do it for gooning. I really just like the romance stuff, and like, you'll understand once I actually post that video, though. So, I don't know. I've seen some other people talk about hentai on YouTube, but theirs is more for like gooning and stuff. That's not for me personally. So don't really go into it think of it as a romance breakdown, a romance anime breakdown, because that's how I'm going to approach it. And in terms of my self-commentary film, that has been postponed because everything keeps happening to where I can't work on it, and it's kind of frustrating too, though. But when it's ready, I'll post it. That one is going to take a lot of time, though, I'm not going to lie. Arden, do I live in the hood? I do not live in the hood. Sorry, no, I do not. So, just for clarification, Thorns, I do not live in the hood. I live in a somewhat normal neighborhood, I guess you could say. So, I guess that's the best way to put it. Like, yes, I am somewhat, well, you can say I am poor, to be honest, but I don't live in the hood. I do know what the hood is around my area, though, but even then, it's not that bad where I live, in comparison to other places. So really, where I live is basically like a normal place. A small place, but normal. But that's what we should be expecting for the 4K sub-special video. I'll post it whenever it's done. But I'm super tired. And this pain in my leg is somewhat like aching back and forth. And sometimes the joints kind of pops back and forth where the sprain happened. But that's supposed to be normal. But no more dancing, everybody, for a while. I'd say about a month that we're out of commission. So now the question is, since we have this free time now, excuse myself, I might as well just use it to hang out every now and then. Which is why we're here today. But I guess that's really all I gotta say for now. So I guess everything else now is just free conversations. Anything you want to talk about, feel free to shoot at it. I'll be here till maybe about 12 a.m. in the early morning, so I have about 20 minutes left, I guess. Any questions or anything you want to talk about, feel free to hit it up, because I'm super exhausted. I work tomorrow too, by the way, just for clarification. But this is the reason why I like these late night streams. It's really just because, like, are you rich? No, I'm not. I am far from rich. I'm so poor, it's ridiculous. I wish I was rich though, but I'm not. I'm just a poor guy, but I really don't bother. My goal is to never be rich, is more so just be happy. And that's really all I'm aiming for as of now. Getting rich will take time. It doesn't happen overnight, which is the sad truth of things. But no, I'm not rich. But I'm open to questions or anything of the sort, because this is why these type of chill streams exist. I'm very open about questions and answers, because I don't really, like, I'm not anything too crazy or special. And it's kind of funny because one of my the aesthetically in shape Kumo Sensei short video I posted to show you my updates on my physique. Everybody's like, yo, what's your workout, dude? My workout is kind of lame. People need to understand that in terms of like maintaining a physique, really it comes down to dieting. Like, yes, training does matter, but like once you just start maintaining at that point and not trying to gain anymore, it becomes super easy. So really, flex for the camera. I don't feel like it. I'm too tired. Not to mention, I just ate, so I'm kind of bloated. Had a lot of rice today. Rice, karage, and then what else did I have? I had a cheesecake. Yeah, my stomach's kind of bloated. Not good for flexing right now. That's cool, bro. Sorry. I also do. Wait, I do want to. You've been going to the gym? Not much. Okay, that's a lot of questions. Okay, let's start off with this. Yes, I do go to the gym, but not as often anymore. Most of my workouts nowadays is either at home or like, you know, most of my workouts is mostly at home at this point, because I am trying to transition away from actually working out to more recreational fitness if I can. How long have I been training? 9 years. I am 100% natural, by the way, everybody. Just to also answer that question. I am 100% natural. I don't take any gear, any drugs, or anything like that. So what you're seeing is a natural physique. Have you ever read The Climber? No, I have yet. I have yet to read it. I know that was it you who recommended that last stream or a couple of streams ago? Somebody recommended that earlier on one of the older streams, but haven't got around to it. But no, I have yet to read it. I actually read anything as long as it's interesting. It doesn't have to be anime or light novels or manga. For example, one of my favorite books of all time is called A Raisin in the Sun. And that's not even anything related to anime. It's basically a stage play, quote unquote. One of my favorite books of all time. Another one of my favorite books. You know, I have a lot of... I love a lot of stuff, just put it that way. This is the reason why people know very little about me. Is because everybody wants to categorize me into one specific spot. That's why, like, when it comes to Q&As, basically question and answers, a lot of people ask questions that are not, like indicative of knowing more about me, you know? So like a lot of people like my anime knowledge and my anime taste. So they just focus on that small little aspect of anime. But in reality, anime is such a small fraction of my life, despite me watching anime for over 16 years. You know, it's funny. Same thing for working out. You know, working out is only a small fraction of who I am. Despite working out for 9 years now, you know, this is kind of the reason why like a lot of people have a hard time trying to understand me or trying to figure me out. It's really because everybody is looking at me from one perspective only. It's kind of funny, but also kind of sad, because like I am not a one-dimensional person. So like so this is like one of the things why like people thinks like I'm super talented or something, you know, because I've been training for 9 years. I've been stage acting and acting for 9 years. Now I'm getting into voice acting. I've done my spider work and my spider business stuff for over a decade. I've been dancing for over a decade, you know? Like, you viewers know so little about me, but it's not necessarily because it's your fault. It's really just because, like, a lot of my viewers categorize me, or they put me into this perspective of, like, this one specific type of thing that I'm known for. So, I'll tell you, you viewers know very little about me. Extremely little about me. But then again though, I'm not your friend, or your brother, or your sister, or anything of that sort. I'm just a guy on the internet that you just happen to have found. But, like I stated, I love questions and answers because I basically generalized or know what questions will be coming my way. But hey, maybe now is a good time for you viewers to understand me a bit better though. I am very different, but everybody's different, quote unquote. Someday you viewers will understand. It's just like how I thought it was too many. No, not too many. There's never too many. I get a lot of questions. Sometimes there are too many, but a lot of the questions are basically within the same boat. It's either revolving around anime, workouts, what is it? The spider stuff behind me. Those are usually the big 3 types of questions that are revolved around my Q&As or questions. Not necessarily anything that like I find different, which will be something interesting. You know, if you catch my drift. Not saying what workouts do you do? That is a very difficult question to answer, but I've said this before though in the past. So my workouts and my dieting does change depending on a few things. 1 is how I'm feeling. 2 is if I'm actually preparing for dance instructing or for stage acting. And 3, it will depend on what I'm trying to accomplish for my physique. Because I do want to clarify this as well. When it comes to my training and dieting, I do not train and diet and work out for the purpose of building muscle. I train, diet, and work out for the purpose of my job as being a stage actor and a dance instructor. So because of that, it requires me to look a specific type of way. Which is why if you look at the video, still in shape and aesthetic Kumo Sensei, you will notice that I am like 8% body fat, shredded, you know, with abs and a very toned in physique. And it's really just because it's required to do so for stage acting. But in terms of my body weight, I'm severely underweight just to achieve that body physique. It looks healthy, but in reality it isn't. But I just post those videos every now and then just to like give people a heads up that I'm still in shape. But in reality though, really you want to stay around like 20% body fat for like optimal muscle gain. If you know anything about body percentage. But my workouts do change though, Thorns. As sad as it is to say. So like if you watch my older vlogs, you'll see some of my workouts that I do at home. But I may not be doing that now, you know. Are you 20%? No, I'm not. Because I'm a stage actor, I'm usually around 15% body fat. 15 to like 13 to 15% body fat. Maybe 17 at most. But the reason why I stay around that percentage is because when you get into stage acting, they want you to look a specific way. So you have to burn down fat. And because of that, I usually can get down to single digit body fat pretty easily, but it's still draining, put it into perspective. And yes, this is something you can't just do automatically. This is something you have to actually work out and train for. Because if you just get into single digit, for example, if you just drop down to 8% body fat to how I was in that video of my aesthetic physique, you will just be like stick and bones. You will have no muscle whatsoever. You have to actually train, diet, and know what you're doing. And understand your body physique. If you're gonna, try to get shredded as I did. And remember this, everybody. I had to do it naturally. I am natural. I do not take any gear or any steroids at all. I'm just 100% natural. But I'm saying this because it's a disclaimer. Because I am somebody who knows my physique, knows how to work out, and knows how to train and diet. And I've been doing this for 9 years now. But this only applies to my body. Your body is different from mine. You may be taller than me, you may be shorter than me. But I say this because I want people to be sure and be safe as well, Just don't overdo yourselves, okay, everybody? Start slow and then slowly figure out how your body works. And I don't want to discourage people, but I want people to just improve on themselves. Don't chase after me, So this is why when people say like, dude, your 25 push-ups are crap, I can do more. Or when people say they're stronger than me, I really just don't bother or care, Because if you are stronger than me or something, then congratulations to you. It just like, I don't know what else to say, but congratulations to you, I guess. And I don't say that to be cocky or to be malicious or anything. It's just the fact that like I am just me, I don't post my physique all the time because I don't do it for validation, nor do I do it to show off. Like the reason why I have that physique, this current physique of mine, is because my job requires me to do so. And no, it's not healthy. I don't care what anyone says. That physique you saw on that video, that was me essentially, was basically a submission video for an audition, because when you're auditioning for roles, they do ask for your body shots, just to ensure that they know what they're getting, in terms of finding an actor or an actress for a production or stage play. So usually those videos is for that. How much does a stage actor earn? Depends. It depends on the production and how much they're paying. Some will pay as low as $1. Some will pay up to hundreds. But really, for me, on average, I'd say per play or per role is $50. Anywhere between $25 to $50. And then $100 on the better end. But for the most part, $25 to $50 per role is what you're getting. Sometimes the production will do a payroll per performance. So if you had like, let's say you got into a stage acting role, and they're only going to do that play three times a week for 2 weeks. So that's 6 essentially, because 2 weeks, 3 times a week. So that'd be six performances. And sometimes they'll pay it like that, or sometimes they'll just pay you all in one go. It really just depends. Hello there, Will. You're a Sigma. I am not Sigma. I am just me. But I do want to give people realistic expectations, though. Hello there, Samsung. Yes, I know. We're at 4K. But I don't really celebrate 4K because, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I do all the time. I don't really like to celebrate, like, when we hit exactly 4,000. I like for it to go over 4,000, and then I'll celebrate. Because sometimes people subscribe, and we hit 4,000, and then they just unsubscribe, and then we go back down to 3,000. So usually I like to wait until, like, we hit a bit more over that limit, or over that subscriber cap, and then I celebrate, or I make a video thanking everybody, just to be sure that those people stay subscribed, you know. But I don't really go too crazy when it comes to, like, subscriber specials and things like that, because this channel, like, even in the past, I've always said this, and I said this, and I'll say this again. I don't expect this, like, I don't see myself doing YouTube as a full-time career. And I know a lot of people want to have, you know, 4,000 subscribers because they're trying to make it on YouTube. But to me, I just don't want to do YouTube as a full-time career. I feel like if I do that, I'll lose the fun of it. That's the reason why I can still upload every single day. Because it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like fun, if you understand what I'm saying. It's sad too, because I know there's a lot of YouTubers that are new that are trying to make it. But after like 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, they give up because it's just too rough. Do you think stage acting is your main career? No, it's not, Thorns. I've actually had a soft retirement from stage acting. I'm still doing stage acting, but I softly stepped back from it. And the reason why is because I felt like I almost died for a stage acting role. Basically what happened, to tell you the truth about stage acting, I was starved so crazy to the point where I was shredded. I was shredded. I had a beautiful six-pack, you know, I looked healthy, but I was so low on body fat, I felt like I was gonna die. Like, I was so lightheaded. But I had to stay intact for my role. I performed it very well, even though it was only like a small role. But I legit, I almost fainted. I've only fainted 3 times ever when it comes to, like, stage acting. 3 times. Those are the only 3 times I've ever fainted. I thought that was gonna be my 4th one, but it wasn't. Like, you have to understand, stage acting is super hard. Not only do you have to look a certain way, like face-wise, but like physique-wise as well. People do not care about, like, people do not care if you're healthy or not. If you look healthy, then in their eyes you are healthy. So for example, if I like my video, you know, the still aesthetic Kumo Sensei, you know. What's your main day job? I don't really have a main day job. I have like a bunch of jobs and hobbies and passive income here and there. It pays very poorly, all of it combined, you know, it's still very poor. But at least it's not like jobs I super hate, you know. I look at your physique and it's crazy good. How long did it take to get that ripped? You think maybe genetics? Hey, Thorns, I just told you. It takes time, training, dieting, and it will take years. And genetics as well. That is for sure. Genetics play a big role in that. But you have to remember though, Thorns, I've been training for 9 years now. I think in terms of like getting shredded, maybe 5 years. Because, like, the first 2 years was newbie gains, and then my third and 4th years, I was just basically progressive overloading. And then my 5th year, I decided, on my 5th year of working out, I decided that I didn't want to be big anymore because it wasn't healthy. So I decided to just start cutting and shredding down. And then from there on, basically, I just stay where I am now. Yes, I did lose muscles after year 5, but at least I was healthier to where, like, I didn't have to be so crazy on the dieting. Thorns, I'm 24 now. I'm 24, but, like, it feels like I'm very old at the same time because I've done a lot when I was young. But that's the thing about me, though. The reason why like people view me as talented for my age is not because like I did a lot. It's just because I started when I was young. You know, I know a lot of people use their youth to play video games, go out with friends and things like that. But for me personally, I spent most of my early teenage years all the way up to now just pursuing my careers. So like, that's just the honest truth. It's just so strange to me nowadays, though. I think time is a very precious thing, but I don't understand why the youth nowadays are not utilizing that time to develop their skills and talents. Because you can argue, like for someone my age, I have accomplished a lot already. You know, and I always say that, not to be cocky, but like, it's just something that I just keep finding it fascinating, no matter how I look at it. How many girlfriends have you had? Thorns, you just gotta go to my older, just watch my older live streams, like the one from the last live stream, or the last couple of live streams. I will go into depth about that. I'm still trying to find the one for me personally. But let's just say I've been through a lot, man. But I don't want to answer that question again because, like, there's no point of answering questions that I've already answered so many times, you know? Good night, Ruiz. If you gotta go, you gotta go. No, I don't mind you ask those questions, but like, I've already answered that question a lot on my last live stream. But like, I'm usually open to a lot of questions though. My day was pretty all over the place. So I was in different towns and different cities essentially. That's basically what I did today. But then it got canceled early because I got injured. So that's why I'm here. I didn't want to be home early today, but after this light sprain and the examination, I'm stuck home now. And then I just spent the day working out my upper body. And now I decided to just chill here with you guys today. You know? You sound a bit southern, not gonna lie. Were you raised in the South? Yes. I live in the South. I live in the Carolinas here in the United States. But I do want to make a clarification though. I don't really have a southern accent. It's more so of my tongue just twisted between different ethnicities and languages. So like, I don't really have a quote-unquote southern accent. It's more so of like a trilingual, multilingual tongue that literally twists my tongue whenever I'm speaking, like right now, like when I'm speaking English. It's kind of confusing, honestly, but let's just say it's the multilingual tongue, not really the southern accent. Even though there's a lot of southerners where I live here, you know? Oh, Thorns, Thorns, you're funny. So, I've actually studied 5 languages. English, Japanese, Portuguese, French, and Hmong. Think that can be fixed through practice, though. Yeah, it could be. It could be. But it's kind of difficult when your tongue keeps getting twisted with other like languages, you know. It's like multiple. I think the best way to explain myself about my accent is that like assuming you Hmong, not necessarily. No, my in-laws are Hmong. But like basically what I'm saying is that I think the best way to put it is that it's like flipping a switch on a light on and off. But the problem is that instead of two options, you got like a bunch of options of languages that just keeps flipping, you know? How did you get into spiders? It was pure accident. One of my high school buddies actually he actually told me he had a pet tarantula, and that's basically how it started, long story short. You have in-laws? Yes, I do. I have a bunch of in-laws. My whole family is like multiracial. Well, we're more into other ethnicities, basically. That's how our family has always been. Like, I have in-laws that are Hispanic, in-laws that are black, in-laws that are white, in-laws that are Hmong. Like, I have a bunch of in-laws, dude. As much as I don't know how to explain it, but that's the best way to put it, you know? Our family tree is all over the place. Let's put it that way. So, it's a very confusing family tree. I don't know how to explain it. It's also one that is... I am not from South Carolina, but... definitely multiracial. That's the best way to put it. So like the tongues, the cultures, and the languages and everything gets mixed up together. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Put it into perspective. Like I've seen a lot of different cultures from my family's other in-laws and stuff already. It's very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. It's not terrible, it's just different, you know? Like, to see, like, how your black in-laws act versus your white in-laws versus your Hispanic in-laws versus your other Asian in-laws, you know? Different cultures, for sure. Like, a lot of similarities, but so many differences. As for me, I don't know what my other side of the family will be once I ever get married, that is. It's just so fascinating, honestly. Being kind of... I don't know. I guess it's just the new generation nowadays. Where, like, the tongue gets twisted because of so many different ethnicities, you know, getting married now. Like, interracial dating, essentially. It's pretty cool, honestly. Very fascinating. Like, I can talk about my in-laws, like, all day, because I have so many different in-laws. Like, I'm not just, like... You would just be surprised, honestly. My family's huge. I thought it was a video. He live. Yes, Lord, I am live right now. I'm basically just doing a bunch of stuff. Speak a bunch of languages, sound very white, apparently. Yeah. People say that all the time, you know. That's pretty cool to hear. Yeah, but I am live right now. I'm just basically doing a bunch of Q&As. So, any questions is pretty open. I'm trying to just chill right now, you know. So, I will be going quite shortly. I said I was going at 12, but it's almost like 12:07-ish, 12:09-ish a.m. in the morning. So a few more questions, and then I guess I'll just go to bed. Because I do got to go to work tomorrow, even despite this sprain on my left ankle. So any questions you have, feel free to let me know. And I'll just answer them while I can, while I'm here, I guess. Yeah, everybody's celebrating the 4K subs. It's pretty interesting, though. And I will say this. You need sleep, my dude. Wish you luck. Yeah, I will go to sleep in a little bit. But I'm gonna... want to tell you this though, in terms of my subscriber numbers. So everybody asks me, at what number does your YouTube channel starts growing steadily? And for me personally, in my journey on this channel so far, my magic subscriber number, the magic number honestly, was 200 subs. As strange as it is to say, but when this channel, I remember actually, when this channel hit 200 subs for the first time, like statistically, like literally, statistically, every single day I was gaining one new sub after 200 subscribers on the channel. I'm not saying every single day I grew a sub, but statistically though, after 200 subs, I was growing one subscriber a day. Could look for more money. I wish, man. But that is really the number when my channel started to grow. My channel has not grown fast by any means, but it has grown steadily. Slow but steady. But that's just to answer the question, because like honestly, everybody's subscriber number growth will be different. You know, some people will just start a channel and just grow automatically. Other people, it will take years to hit 1,000 subs, or they're probably given up before 1,000 subs. But for me personally, the moment I hit 200 subscribers on the channel, I was hitting one new subscriber every single day. And then now we're at 4,000 subs now, which is even more surprising. More surprising than to be expected. So, the question is, how many subscribers will we hit by the end of this year? Probably not a lot, but... excuse myself. But we just kind of had to wait and see. My dream job? I don't... It's funny to say this, but... okay, this is kind of... I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. I'm basically already living my dream job. But in terms of like a dream job that pays well, it's not it, you know? Like, I want people to... I just want people to be transparent about it. So I'll be the first person to tell you that. Like, I am proud of what I do. I'm basically living my dream right now. I'm a stage actor, a dance instructor, owning my Tarantula business that I always wanted. You know, and being in shape. You know, I have my dream jobs, but in terms of a good paying dream job, I don't have it yet. As for the future, I would like to get into voice acting. Thoughts on the OnlyFans girls with the 1,000 dudes taken down? Well, here's the thing. I really don't care about that. Like, I just don't care. Because I just think like stuff like that is more of a publicity stunt. See, my multilingual tongue is getting stuck here. So I really just don't care, honestly. Like, OnlyFans girls, 1,000 dudes one day, yeah, whatever. I just couldn't care less. And it's not because like, just because like, why care, you know? I'm just gonna bother with myself, do my own thing. I'm not a gooner, so I can't really relate, man. But to the gooners out there, I don't know, maybe you might have a differing opinion. But to each their own, though. I'm just trying to live my own life now, honestly, at this point. So like, whenever there's drama now, I just try not to bother with it. That's also one of the reasons why I don't really make as much, you know, things in terms of like commentary. Because I just want to avoid those type of drama. Playing any games right now? No, not really. I've just been on and off playing Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet, and then playing some Fear and Hunger 2 whenever I feel like it. That's basically where I'm at right now. Because like I'd rather use that time, that free time, to watch anime and catch up than to play video games. But if I do play games, it would be something more chill. Not really an MMO or a MOBA or a first-person shooter type of guy. Those ain't my type of stuff. But you know, everybody has their own preferences. You know. I just hear stuff about that and I find it funny. That's funny. When I hear about stuff that is when I hear about crazy stuff, most of the times I get a giggle and I just kind of move on. The thing about me, the thing I figured out about drama nowadays is that, like, drama, it brings up a lot of conversations and a lot of things to talk about for like a few seconds, and then by like the next week or the next month, nobody cares. So like, I really just don't bother with drama much anymore, man. It just, the amount of time it stays relevant doesn't stay relevant for long, unless you did something criminal. But most dramas nowadays is really just to garner attention. I just don't care, you know. Same thing for anything that's like politics or whatnot. I just and yeah, nobody cares after the next day. Yesterday's news. The problem is that I think the thing you have to consider is that we live in an age where the internet is evolving so quickly and so fast that like anything, everything on the internet doesn't stay relevant for long. And this doesn't apply. This doesn't apply to just like news and things like that. It applies to YouTubers, online content creators, you know, me included. Like everybody on the internet, you know, we are all products of our time. Because the internet is evolving so fast, I promise you, like within the next 5 to 10 years, we're either going to be gone or we're going to be moved on or somewhere else. Because this the age of the internet is so vast and it's expanding so quickly. You could argue that it's expanding as fast as the universe is. So like that's one of the reasons why I don't really bother with like how should I say it? I don't want to say I don't care, but like it doesn't, like, it's just not worth remembering long term, you know, when it comes to news, especially the stuff that isn't important. And I've always said that we are all products of our time, you know. I promise you that. Maybe the next 10 years, this channel is going to be gone, forgotten, and everybody moved on and grown up. You may not agree with me on that, but watch. It's going to happen. Time tells it all. It's going to happen. I'm going to grow a decent-sized channel, and then I'm going to retire, or people will just move on to other YouTubers. And for me, I couldn't care less. Because YouTube, in my personal opinion, and I will die by this, I personally think that nobody should live their lives trying to make YouTube a full-time career. Because I think 99% of, like, any recommendation to watch, there's a lot of things you can watch, a lot of animes you can watch right now. Invincible, definitely can't wait to see that. Season 3, is it? But I just want to be transparent though. I don't see YouTube as a full-time career for anybody. 99% of people on the internet are not smart with money, even though they think they are. They're not. Me included. How much money is retirement? It depends. It depends. YouTube's a good career, honestly. Your own hours and schedule, it just requires a lot of work, like anything in life, though, and lots of creativity. Thorns, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I actually agree with what you're saying, but the one thing you're not looking at is the fact that you're overstepping what I said about the internet. The internet is evolving so fast that like your time on the internet is not long. How many YouTubers have been around since, like, how many YouTubers for the past 10 years, the last decade, are still relevant now? Because, like, there's very few of them, I'll tell you that. Because as time goes on, there's only going to be more competition and more rising stars. And because of that, the saturation on YouTube is going to grow expansively. So basically what I'm saying is that your time in the spotlight gets shorter and shorter and shorter with time. And yes, YouTube is a good career, but YouTube is not built to be a long-term sustaining career. This is why I just mentioned 10, like, name some YouTubers 10 years ago. You only put 3. That ties back into my point. Is very, very few. Not to mention, like you have to understand, how should I put this? This is hard to explain to people because I've been creating content since 2016. So that's 9 years now. I've been through the thick, like I've been, that's funny, the thick of it, KSI, LOL, but I've been through it and back. I'm not stupid. That's the thing. I am one of those very few people that has seen the change of the internet. Like, time changes everything. You viewers are going to get, like, your viewers they're going to get older. Their life goes on. Like, it's just so hard to explain. Because, like, why? Everything changes on the internet. And your personal life will change as well. I think okay, let's use myself for an example here, because I don't want to say I'm right, but like I'm trying to give you an idea. My target audience, my main audience, the majority of this audience on this channel is ages between 16 to 18. Second behind that is ages 20 to 24. 10 years from now, those 16 to 18 year olds will be 26 and 28 years old. And those 20 to 24 year olds will be 30 and 34 years old 10 years from now. They're an aging audience. And yes, new audience members that are younger will come in, but for the most part, in the beginning, which is basically mostly the loyal followers, they will grow older, their lives will go on. They will move on from your content at some point. And yes, they'll still support your content, but they won't be able to watch you as they did back then. Maybe they'll stop and watch your content here and there just to check up on you or check in to see how you're doing. But for the most part though, like, their lives, your life, my life will go on. The problem with YouTube is that everybody looks ahead on YouTube to try and grow, you know, their channel, but they don't look ahead and try to think about, like, the lives that are supporting their careers, you know? The internet is truly a fascinating. It's definitely fascinating. It's evolving so fast, and honestly, I think it's evolving too fast at this point. Sustainability is just too difficult. Thorns. This is true. I actually agree with that. But the problem you have to understand is that continuous growth and mindset, it makes you have to evolve, but at the same time, by doing that, you're changing your content. And when you change your content too much, your old viewers will not relate to your content anymore. They will leave. It's basically the same concept, out with the old and into the new. But, like, YouTube, I will stand by that still though. I do not think YouTube is worth it as a full-time career. I think people are too stupid to do YouTube, in my personal opinion, because they're not financial advisors. Don't get it twisted. Like, you can make a lot of money on YouTube, but I think a lot of YouTubers are wasting that money buying stupid shit. Like, I would not buy big houses, nor will I buy expensive cars. I think that's a waste of time. I think if you are smart, definitely focus on retiring. Don't focus on buying expensive or stupid shit like that. Because, like, you will go into debt so fast within 5 years if you bought an expensive car or a big expensive house for that matter, you know? Because the problem with YouTubers is that YouTubers create content, but they're not financial experts. When you buy expensive assets, those assets are taxed. Not to mention the cost of insurance and the cost of expenses of owning those assets. It will add up. They're just not smart, in my personal opinion. The majority of them are not smart. At some point, YouTube era is going to end soon. Nearly 5 years enough. I disagree with that. I don't think YouTube will ever go out. Not in 5 years, that is. Definitely not. Maybe 50 years, but definitely not 5. Because the reason why I say that is because YouTube doesn't have any real competitors. It doesn't. It doesn't, like, there's no other video sharing platform on the same scale of YouTube. You know how the thing about YouTube that you have to understand is that YouTube is a video sharing platform, but it's also a place to it costs money for storage, essentially. Like, there's billions upon billions of terabytes worth of videos on YouTube. The cost to actually uphold all of that storage of YouTube videos is super expensive to operate. Thorns, I disagree with that. That's the thing. It's too expensive to make a good YouTube competitor. Because you have to understand, okay, you're looking at it as if like a website can just post videos and become big. That's not how it works. The way YouTube works is this. It's a video platforming sharing website. Every time you upload a video, the website uses data. It stores data. It's a data storage base, essentially. There is billions upon billions upon billions of videos being uploaded onto YouTube right now as we're live streaming. Do you know how much it costs just to store all of that data onto a website? It costs us a freak ton of money. That is the reason why there is no true competition to YouTube as of yet, because it's just too expensive. Anybody can start a website to upload videos, but the catch is that when there's more people, there's more storage that needs to be stored. More data needs to be stored in that website. There's going to be a competitor. I actually disagree. I disagree with that, though. I'm saying creators are going to shift to somewhere else indeed. There's going to be a competitor. No, not that I'm aware of. People will keep mentioning stuff like Dailymotion or TikTok, but here's the thing. TikTok is for shorts. Dailymotion doesn't even come close at this point to YouTube. but storage gets cheaper as we go through time. Back when we had space 4 years high end, now it's like 10 terabytes. There's currently a few competitor. I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. You're making it sound like it's black and white. It's not black and white, Thorns. Because if what you're saying is true, which for like the past 10 years now, everybody keeps saying there's a YouTube competitor, how come they're not successful? It's just so fascinating to me though. Because YouTube is at a point where it's just too massive for it to fail. It's way too massive. That's just the problem. Excuse myself. If you're going to make a competitor, that's going to be extremely difficult to actually beat over. Because, like, I just don't see it happening. Because you have to consider, we're not just looking at, like, other YouTubers and stuff. The AI getting competitors this fast. Maybe YouTube will get soon, too. AI is basically already in everything, though. Have you watched Dragon Ball? Yes, I've watched Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is great, actually. AI is basically incorporated in everything at this point. It doesn't matter what website it is. Every website has AI to some extent. I just can't see any other competitors to YouTube as of now. Because I think of the celebrities, all the celebrities around the world that has a YouTube account, and then I think about like, you have to remember, YouTube is owned by Google. And that is also like another big factor. So like, man, maybe that's why, I don't know. YouTube is too big to fail at this point. I really just don't see it happening, man. I can see other people making video sharing platforms. They're already there, essentially. But I don't see any of them getting bigger than YouTube's. Because, like, YouTube is incorporated into the internet. Basically Google, quote-unquote. This is why when you Google search anything, most of the times there's some sort of YouTube video that appears first. Like, you don't see a Daily Motion video or anything like that that pops up first. Unless you search for Daily Motion specifically, you know? Because Google will promote YouTube regardless, because YouTube is owned by Google. It just ties back to my point. I don't think anybody's taking out Google or YouTube at this point. Because you either got to buy out like Google, or you had to do something tremendously expensive. I just don't see, I really don't see a college student or somebody in India or somebody in their own house just making a website and just getting, you know, rich on a video, specifically, you know, a video sharing platform, that is. Consider this though. Go on. I've heard this story 9 years ago when I started YouTube. I'll hear it again. Now I'm waiting. Because, like, I was trying to change YouTube to short form video sharing smaller creators. That is... This ties back to my point. You're okay, see now, that is okay, how do I explain this? TikTok is a video sharing platform. But here's the thing though. The thing about TikTok is that TikTok is short videos. It's the short video format. That's the thing. Oh my gosh. This is kind of like... This is kind of infuriating. Because I don't... Oh... Okay, how do I explain this? Anything could come from left field unexpected. Yes, TikTok is big, but TikTok is not a full video platform sharing website. TikTok is a short form video posting website, or app, quote unquote, if you want to be more specific. Because TikTok originally was not built for long form videos. That's the thing. And even now, actually, TikTok has trouble uploading long form videos. Because there's a limitations on how many gigabytes of a video TikTok can upload. See, YouTube was smart though. YouTube was already big. So what the only thing YouTube had to do was just make shorts. YouTube shorts, quote unquote. And now they're standing on top of TikTok essentially, since TikTok is not downloadable here in the United States for now, until they solve something about that. Different medium, but it's just another comparator to YouTube. And no, a bunch of sites do long form content. Consider that. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's another competitor, but that's all it is. It's not going to be bigger than YouTube. That's the thing. That's the thing you're getting twisted. There's always going to be competitors, no matter what. But as for one that will be close to YouTube, that's never going to happen. Like, we heard the story so many times already. I remember when Instagram Reels, everybody was talking about Instagram Reels being like the next YouTube competitor. I heard that in like, was it 2015? That's 10 years ago now. Yes, don't get that wrong. Instagram is big, and the Instagram videos is still pretty big now, but it doesn't come close to YouTube's though. Is it a competitor? Yes, it is. I won't deny that. But it just ties back to the point of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there isn't competitors. I'm just saying that there isn't a competitor that will come close or surpass YouTube's. Not for a long time, that is. Because I even remember when, when TikTok was still called Musical.ly. A lot of people may have forgot about that, because maybe you guys are too young, but y'all remember Musical.ly? That was TikTok before TikTok. Musical.ly became TikTok, by the way. Like, even, like, don't get it wrong, man. People get it twisted all the time. They think competitor equals close competition. A competitor will always be a competitor, but as for how close or how much better it is to one another, it will depend. Not all platforms are created equally, because YouTube is not equally, I'll tell you that. If it was, then shoot, who knows? But that just won't happen in our lifetime, sadly. But I wish there was a YouTube competitor though. If there was one, I would laugh so hard. Like one that is close to YouTube. Because then I'll be able to be like, I would just cry of laughter. Because you know how bad I want to see a YouTube competitor so bad. Like one that comes close to YouTube. I forgot about Musical.ly. I used to have corny dance videos. Man, I remember Musical.ly way back when. But you have to understand though, I don't like YouTube, but I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I don't like YouTube as much as I would like. But even I will admit that in terms of competition that comes close to YouTube, there's none. Yes, there's a lot of competition on like video sharing platforms. You have Dailymotion, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Reels, and things like that. You know, or Vimeo. Was that what it's called? Vimeo, that's what it is, Vimeo. But none of them are close to YouTube's. Because if there was, but if there was a competitor to YouTube, I promise YouTube would treat its creators much better, which it doesn't. That's kind of the reason why I don't really like YouTube that much, is because it doesn't treat us creators very well. Yup, I'm a Gen Z. After you is Gen Alpha and then Beta. I feel bad for all the Generation Beta children because everybody's just making fun of them. But after the beta generation, it'll be gamma. But I really just don't bother in terms of like what generation you're from, because I learned this very early. Well, I've just learned this. If there's one thing I've learned is that it doesn't matter about what generation you're from, but rather what and who you are as a person. Because sometimes I meet some millennials and they're as dumb as can be. And then I meet a Gen Alpha or Gen A, that's what I call them. And they're like way more interesting in terms of being normal than a baby boomer. Just to go back to what I'm saying, you know? So for me personally, I don't really judge people by how old or what generation they're from. It just depends on the person. Because I like to treat everybody normally, because you don't know what they're like in person, you know? So I don't really care about what generation, whatever this person or that person is from. Because I am a Gen Z that is literally teaching baby boomers and millennials how to work with businesses and tarantulas. So, very interesting. You have somebody who's like 20 years younger than you teaching you things. AKA me. But I met a lot of people who are in the 40s and 50s that act like children. They whine a lot, they complain a lot, and they're entitled. And I'm always asking myself, dude, you're like 20 to 30 years older than me. Why are you whining? It's just so strangely frustrating in this world that we live in. Like, I used to think that, like, the older generations, since they're older, they'll be more wiser or something. But in reality, it just depends on the person at this point. I'm convinced of that, too. So like, it's strange. Like, usually I'm not convinced so easily when it comes to, like, discussions about older means wiser, or, you know, experience means wiser. Like, in terms of, like, experience and wisdom, back then I used to think that, like, older people were wiser because they lived longer and they've been through a lot. But as I've grown older, it really just depends on the person and what they've been through. If you've been through a lot and you're able to learn from it or understand something from it, you're probably going to be wiser in this field, more wiser than somebody else. And it's funny because, like, I remember the first time, like, I started rethinking this, because I was 19 years old and I was officially deemed a spider breeder, or a tarantula breeder, aka a spider master at that point. Like, I was a 19-year-old and I was literally talking to people in their 40s and 50s. And man, it's weird when a young guy, it's weird. It's really weird, let's put it that way. It's like asking a kid to teach a math class to adults. Hello there, Ichi. It's currently 12:43 a.m. in the morning here, but I can stay up a bit longer, I guess, because this conversation is interesting of where I'm going with it. But that is a true story, though. So at 19 years old, I was basically a tarantula breeder, and some even categorized me as a tarantula master. And as the Spider Sensei, or the Kumo Sensei, that is, I was teaching a class of new future tarantula breeders, you know, teaching them how to breed tarantulas. And these people were in their 40s and 50s, and here I am, barely 20 years old. So that really changed my perspective on wisdom about age. I do like mod packs with shaders when it comes to Minecraft, but I don't really play Minecraft like that. Usually I just play Minecraft with my younger brothers whenever they need somebody to play with. But I wouldn't really go out of my way to play it by my own, you know? Just for clarification. But that's just me to you though, everybody. And it's funny too, because like, people, when they see me, they misidentify me all the time. Everybody thinks I'm Chinese. I am not Chinese, by the way. Sorry to tell you that, but I am not Chinese. Like, I just consider myself an American. That's all I am. Just American. My ethnicities always get called into question, but you guys would never figure it out. Not for the longest, that is. But someday, though, you'll probably figure it out. But we've already been through this rabbit hole, so I'm just going to keep it to myself, personally. But, did you try Pokemon Unbound? Pokemon Unbound, no. I know what it is, but it's not for me, personally. I like Pokemon, but I don't really like how, like, it's evolved into where, like, it's more an investment now, essentially. Are you half Korean then? I am not Korean by any means. I actually have a lot of Korean friends from up north in Canada. I'm not Canadian, by the way, but I have Canadian friends who are Korean. Shout out to Vancouver, because a lot of my Korean friends, they were originally from Seoul, Roppongi, and some of those South Korean towns and villages over in South Korea, and then they immigrated to Canada, over to some went to Toronto, but the majority of them were in Vancouver for like the longest. And then after they graduated college, a lot of them, actually all of them moved out of Canada, essentially. Some moved back into Korea, South Korea that is, and then the majority of them moved around the world. A couple of them are in Australia, some of them in the United States, over in California and those type of areas. None of them are around here where I live, though. But I do have Korean friends, though, but I am not Korean by any means. Shout out to my Korean homies, though. I do have nothing but respect for the Korean people. The fan-made ROM? Depends. Not a big fan of like fan-made things, but sometimes it's fun to play anything that's fan-made. But for the most part, I just like things to be vanilla. Like, just plain as it is. Like the base game and whatnot. But I just want to clarify that, though. I'm not Korean, but I have a lot of Korean friends, though. They do recommend me some, they're actually one of the influences to how I dress whenever I go out now. So basically, you know, I know you from push-up videos. That's basically where everybody knows me from, I guess, at this point, is my push-up videos. But I just want to clarify that, though, everybody. I'm not Korean. Not close. But man, though, it's funny because I do have some interesting stories, though. Some of my friends wanted to actually, they wanted me to date date this Korean person, quote unquote. I actually don't mind dating a Korean person at all. It's just that, like, it's a lot to understand about culture-wise, you know. But it's very similar to most Asian cultures. But man, do I have nothing but respect for my Korean homies, though. Whenever I start any anime, I just grind all the way to finishing. I got no control over it. I end up pushing my work to next days. Well, you better work harder then. Don't procrastinate. I was the opposite, actually. I grinded my work all the way, and then I binge watch anime. That's basically how I did my work schedule back then. It's true, though. I was never a slacker at all. That's the reason why, like, at the age of 24, where I am now, I'm very accomplished. I'm not financially stable by any means, but in terms of accomplishments, I'm very accomplished. I'm very proud of myself, too. In a good way, that is. 10 years into dancing, 10 years of dancing, that's a good career, you know. And then, like, 9 years of acting, over 10 years of spider work, 9 years of training. How many eps are enough for a day? It depends. Anime back then was completely different, Puneet. Or I'm gonna call you Pun just to be short. Anime back then was so vastly different. Believe it or not, back then there was so little anime out. every season of anime, you would get like 10 to 15 animes per season, and that was it. So you can binge watch everything back then. But now there's just too many animes to watch per season. Like this season, this winter 2025 anime season has about 60 animes. That's like 4 to 5 times as much as it was back then. You know? That's how much anime has changed. Have you ever thought about coming to Japan to live? No, I do not. My cousins live in Japan and they tell me it's a nightmare. Living in Japan, to me, I just couldn't do it because, like, I would definitely visit Japan and meet my relatives and things like that, but I could not live in Japan, though. If you live in Japan, you have to be hardworking, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you do not work hard, you cannot live in Japan. I know that you see videos of people doing international exchange programs, like teaching English or things like that in Japan. Yes, those programs are there for foreigners to come into Japan, but I'll tell you, if you're trying to live there long term, you're going to not only speak Japanese well, but you need to actually work hard in Japan to make a living. Like, I keep seeing YouTube videos of like people saying it's simple to live in Japan. Yes, it is simple to live in Japan temporarily, but long term, it's not sustainable though. Why do you think Japan has some of the most biggest crash outs in terms of work? Like Japanese office workers, like just Japanese workers in general are overworked. It's very sad, but it's just the truth. Like, that's not the lifestyle I want to live, nor is it the lifestyle I want for my future children or anyone in general. And you don't have to, you may not understand where I'm coming from, and you may not agree with me, because everybody looks at Japan like, oh, anime, or like, oh, culture, or things like that, but trust me, Japan is very difficult to live. Not only is it very competitive, but it's very, very expensive compared to what you're earning there. So just some anime so I can get an idea of your taste. Okay, Steins Gate, ReZero, anything that's romance. And then, I don't know, I watch everything though. Lord, here's the problem, Lord. I've been watching anime for 16 years now. Like, I've watched basically everything. Not everything, but I watch like everything different in terms of genres. I don't have a specific genre that like is my go-to genre. I just have genres I like, you know, but no top of the top. But yeah, though, that is my personal opinion about Japan, though. Great place to visit and a great place to stay for a while. Not a great place to live long term, nor to start a family. If you want to start a family in Japan, good luck on that. That is never going to happen. If it does happen, you're going to be either the poorest person in the world, or you're probably got to move to another country. Unless both you and your significant other work full-time jobs, which you'll barely see each other. And that's not the life I want to live. But I like Japan a lot. I like Japanese people a lot. But I know as a person when to step back from like chasing this dream of like what Japan is versus the reality of things. And it is just very sad to see people nowadays getting this delusional idea of like Japan is this perfect country, it's super clean, they have really nice manners, really respectful, and things like that. Yes, those things are part of the culture, but you're not looking at this from like a realistic perspective of like financial, financially, mentally, emotionally, culturally, and long-term sustainability. You know, a lot of people don't look at it from that perspective. Like for example, one of my cousins, like, here's an example. One of my cousins legit lives in an apartment in Japan. And it's literally like one small place. It's a 1-bedroom apartment and it's super tiny. You open the door and there's like it's like a 2-meter hallway, and then like a small, maybe like 4 meters by 3 meter apartment. Then that's basically the space. And then in that 2-meter hallway, to the left of it is like a small 1 meter by 1 meter bathroom. And then to the right of it is a small kitchen stove and a sink. It's very tiny. Like extremely tiny. Some apartments are smaller than that too, just for a heads up. And the cost of that apartment is like, how much yen is it? I don't remember. The monthly rent is super expensive. And you also have to consider that you have to pay for electricity as well, because not all apartments in Japan covers the rent cost doesn't cover for like the utilities and things like that. And I'm just speaking pure facts here. I'm not like making up stuff. I wish my cousin was here, because my cousins, quote unquote. That's why my family's here in America. That's why I prefer to be here in America, just to be chilling here. I don't hate Japan by any means, but I just got to tell you how it is. Everybody's like, oh my god, there's a guy that's going off on Japan. How could he? How dare he goes off on Japan? Japan is the greatest country in the world. It is a great country. It is one of the greatest countries in the world to visit. But I just gotta tell you how it is. Gomenasai. Oh my gosh, all the Nihonjin are gonna come after me. Oh lord, what if that... Dang, that's gonna be crazy if that does happen. Japan Ichiban. Yeah. It sure seems to be like that in Japan. Huh, yeah, you're right about that. Japan's number one, that's funny. But I'm just here speaking facts though, guys. Just about like what Japan really is. And I know that and I know that a lot of people want to visit Japan. That is fine. It's just living there, you know? What about some anime movies and TV shows other than anime? It's funny when you say movies, because movies to me, I use that as like a medium to study. The Sixth Sense is a good one I like. I do like, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I like La La Land. I like, what is that one about the drumming? Dang it, I forgot what that one was called. And then I also have a lot of favorite movies. I like The Freedom Riders. I also like, what else? There's a lot of movies I like. And the reason why I like movies a lot is really just because I like to use movies as a basis to study acting as a stage actor. Godzilla -1 was amazing. Yes, Godzilla -1 is an amazing film, by the way. Amazing actors too. It's funny how it won an Oscar for best CGI, was it? Amazing. Suge. Like, I appreciate it. I am learning Korean. Filipino from Duolingo. Here's my honest opinion about Duolingo. Duolingo is a great place to do warm-ups, not a great place to learn. Period. I'll die by that too. I think if you're trying to use I don't know how to explain. For example, like if I'm learning Japanese, I personally will buy a textbook like the one I have here, that you see here. I'll use that instead over Duolingo. I don't like Duolingo because Duolingo can teach you words and phrases, but it can't teach you how to speak it correctly. Excuse myself. Because it doesn't teach you how to develop your own sentences, quote unquote. It teaches you basic sentence structures, but it doesn't teach you how to make your own sentence structures, if you get what I'm saying. This applies for both Duolingo for Japanese and every other language. Because I use Duolingo myself for Japanese. even I'll admit it, but I don't use it to learn Japanese, if you understand what I'm saying. Because, like, even I see the faults in Duolingo's Japanese, or Duolingo in general. It's just too strict of, like, a path of how it structures itself. You can't really learn by Duolingo on its own. And I'm just speaking pure facts, man. As a guy who studied 5 languages, English, Japanese, Portuguese, French, and Hmong. I think the best way to learn any sort of language is to find a way and to find a person to teach you. So what I mean by that is, one, find a way that which works best for you. Some people is watching anime or watching TV shows or something. And then 2, find a person that natively speaks that language and also speaks the language that you speak, and just slowly understand. That was the fastest way for me to learn languages. Like, you'll learn like this. Like, once you find the right method and the right person. Because, like, I really, like, self-study. Yes, you're going to have to do self-study. Everybody does self-study when it comes to learning a new language. Even I do self-study, even now. But sometimes, like, the index, like, let me show you, for example. Like, sometimes the index cards, like I have here, is just not enough, you know? Whoops. Sorry, everybody. I still have a bunch of index cards here. Sora, the troll. Hey, I know Sora. Everybody knows Sora's the troll. He says the best way to learn is to have Japanese friends. I agree, period. Always have a friend that speaks that native language that you're learning. That way you will learn quickly. Are you fluent in the other language you speak? No, I am not. And allow me to explain why. My tongue is very mixed. Period. My English is not so great. So, because of that, like, everything is, like, tangled in my head. I can speak basics of the other languages that I practice, but I'll be lying if I said I could speak it fluently, quote unquote. And I know, like, and I'm just saying that to be honest here. I'm not here to say that I can speak languages fluently, that I'm collegiate or something like that. We'll see you, Lord. You gotta go, you gotta go. But this is just to clarify though, everybody. I actually study other languages, and I can speak the basics of it, but I do not speak it fluently. And the reason why is because, 1, I don't have anybody to practice with anymore, and 2, it's just that I haven't been utilizing it. If you don't utilize it, it slowly slips out of your head. And the thing that makes it worse for me is the fact that, like, I study other languages, so sometimes the other languages tangles each other up, and since I don't apply it, I slowly lose a bit of everything. So for me personally, I'm at a point where, like, my languages and my other languages, quote unquote, is not bad, but it's not great. But I will say this though, if I found a partner again to study those languages with, my language will skyrocket. I'm not a fast learner, but I'm a very consistent learner though. Now I'm going to ask you is, do you complete a 4K watch hours? Not even close. We still have 1,300 something hours. No. 1,700 hours left, I believe. Later, it is 10 p.m. Well, good night to everybody. If you gotta go, you gotta go. But we still have a lot of more watch hours to go before we hit that 4K watch hours on YouTube. For this channel, that is. But I just want to clarify, though, everybody. I'm not stupid by any means. Because you have to remember, I graduated college with honors. I was in the honors program. Not to mention, for half a semester, I was in an international exchange program, too. Speaking with foreign students. That's how I learned those other languages. And it's pretty nice, honestly, meeting with other people with other languages, different dialects. You learn a lot. I learned a lot. But in terms of like getting good at something, it's really up to you personally. Like, people always try to stay motivated, but don't stay motivated. Stay disciplined. There's a difference. Motivation will always burn out. Like this is the thing that drives me nuts. People mix motivation and discipline together. They're not the same thing. Motivation is temporary, discipline is forever. If you can discipline yourself, you can learn anything, honestly. That's how, that's how I got to where I am now. I think everybody needs to find their own ways of staying disciplined. I don't know how they'll find it, but you viewers can figure it out. A lot of you viewers are relatively young, so you'll find yours soon. Luckily for me though, I found mine when I was young, so I started younger than most people, and then by the time I was 18 to 20 years old, I was already accomplished. I'm not rich by any means, but I was definitely much better off than most people in terms of accolades, I guess. Because like how many dance professionals, spire experts, long-time stage actors and things like that do you meet at age 20? Not very many. Thankfully. I can go days on days talking about my career history of like just one specific topic, whether it's dancing, stage acting, training for 9 years. That was hell, but it was worth it, sort of. I remember training was the craziest things. I used to run 16 kilometers a day, 7 days a week. That was pretty fun. I missed those days, but the cardio kept burning too much body fat, so I had to up the carbs, cut the cardio, and basically increase the training. But that was, what year was that? My 4th year into training? And then my 5th year, I started shredding down and then downsizing to where I am now. Don't wish to be bigger no more though, everybody. But that was a bit of a history of my training, quote unquote. 9 years. It feels like I started just yesterday, honestly. Dancing was a very interesting one though. From street dancer to street performer to competitive dancer and then to a dance instructor in the span of 10 years. That was pretty nice. 16 kilometers a day is crazy. Hop, you may be new to the channel, but I will explain this as well. I actually ran a couple of marathons as well, so I was a marathon, not a marathon sprinter, quote unquote, but I was a marathon runner. I ran 2 marathons. So like for me personally, I had really good cardio back then. My cardio is still good now, but not as good as it was back then. By the way, that's true though. I ran 2 marathons. The first time I ran a marathon, I gassed out. Vin, what was your college degree, if you don't mind me asking? Here's the thing. I was actually my college degree is still somewhat incomplete, Vin. So I'm going to tell you a bit of my college history. So when I entered college, I entered into a 2-year college. Basically, I was in a program called it was called the transfer program. So basically this transfer program worked like this. I would spend 2 years at a small 2-year college, a local 2-year college. So there was a 2-year college that I would be in for 2 years. Then once I finished my 2-year college, I could transfer all of my college credits and basically all of my college classes onto a university, a 4-year college, and then graduate with a 4-year degree. So basically, within 4 years, I graduated with 2 college degrees. That was the original program that I was in. Now, you may be asking, what did I major into? So during my college years, I majored into gaming and simulation because at that time, I wanted to create games. But what ended up happening was that I graduated with my 2-year degree, okay? And I was supposed to transfer into a 4-year college after graduating a 2-year college. But it didn't happen because one, I actually dropped out of my program of gaming and simulation because the gaming industry at the time was terrible. Basically, if I continued into that position, I will not have any jobs available. So I actually backed out of my college program. So I graduated with my 2-year degree with no college major at all. And then I didn't transfer into a 4-year college because what ended up happening was that the pandemic hit. Yes, the pandemic hit. I graduated my 2-year college in 2020. So when I graduated college, the pandemic shut everything down. And I legit was at the worst time of my life. I was broke, poor, my future was very shaky, and I couldn't get my Tarantula business off the ground. And I couldn't do any dance instructing, no stage acting, none of that. Because the pandemic got everybody on lockdown. And it was so bad to the point where not only was I financially not so great, but mentally I had nothing. Physically I had nothing. So my girlfriend at the time, she dumped me. And I was at the lowest point of my life, actually. That was a really rough time. And I still say this now. The pandemic was the worst time of my life. But yeah, that's my college story though. So basically I have a 2-year college degree with no major, just put it that way. Will I go back to finish my 4-year degree? Maybe. I don't know. I just gotta find something that I see worth it. But I will say this though, if you go to college, it is worth it. It doesn't matter. Like, even if you're not sure what you're doing in college, I do think that college is worth the chance of taking. Because in this day and age, any college degree is better than no college degree. Because you're not going to get a college, I want people to understand, you're not going to get a job in this day and age if you do not have a college degree of any sort. I don't care if you go to a 1-year college or a small, cheap college. Any college is better than no college. Because, I'm just spitting facts at this point. We live, name every single good job there is. Every good job that there is out there, the majority of them will require some sort of college degree. Even if it's not, even if you have a college degree in a major that isn't for a job you want to have or want to do. Let's say you major into cooking, for example, for college, but you want to do art. Well, even if you don't have the right major for that specific field, at least you have a college degree. It's better than nothing, you know? It's better than somebody who just graduated high school because you have something a bit more than that person. So, I just want people to understand that. So, even though I don't have my 4-year degree in college, it's not that, I don't have anything. I at least have a college degree, you know? But luckily, I was fortunate, though. I was very fortunate, I will not lie, because I was, I had the right people at the right time, to some extent, later on, once I slowly picked myself back up after losing everything. And now, I wouldn't say I'm stable, but I'm in a much better place now. Because, my careers are very accomplished with stage acting, dance instructing, the spider work, owning my own Tarantula business, and, staying active and fit and training. I'm in a very good spot. Well, not a very good spot, but a much better spot, that is. Well, that's just my 2 cents about college, my college degree, and my college background, though. But I do want to make something clear. I was not stupid in college at all. I never slacked. I was very smart in college. I was so smart in college. Hold up. I've shown this so many times, but here's my college cord. If you don't know what this is my college honors cord. I graduated college with honors. Basically, what this means is that my grades in college, throughout my entire time in college, was either the lowest grade you could make was 90. So all of my classes was either a 90 or above. So I never had a B in any of my classes. I was that smart. I was never stupid. That's the reason why I'm not a fast learner, but I'm a very consistent learner. Yes, I've been bitten by my spiders before. I've been bitten once only, but yeah. But I just want people to understand that, though. I don't know. Is your spider business profitable right now? No, it's not. And allow me to explain why. I do not... Hold up. I said this before, and I'll say this again, actually, Vin. But you're new, so you may... So this is the first time you're hearing this, but I do not want my spider business to become a full-time job. Because my goal right now is to actually diversify my income. Like, I want different sources of income. That's basically what I'm trying to do here. So like right now, I'm currently I own my spider business. I teach dance instructing every now and then. I do stage acting every now and then for money as well. And then I work my part-time job at a grocery store. So right now I have about 4 sources of income. And then my 5th source of income is basically some online office work, sort of. They don't pay a lot. Like, they pay very little, all of them combined. But right now, my goal is to diversify my portfolio of income. And diversify my portfolio of what I can do for my careers. So that way, I can slowly grow it all out. Instead of just putting everything in one basket, you know? Because what I've learned is that it's not bad if you just do one thing for, like, your main job to make money, but like I want to make money to where like I don't have to work as hard, you know? I want it just to flow naturally. I want passive income. Because for me, there's a saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's currently kind of where I am right now with most of my stuff. So like I don't really see my spider business as like a job. You know, do you invest your money in stocks or you're not really into that stuff? I do not invest into the stock market because I know how rough it is. I actually had a college buddy who was into the stock market, and it's not easy. It's just not for me personally. But I just want people to understand who I am as a person, though. Don't try to diversify your portfolio. That's all I gotta say. Take your time, diversify your incomes, and try to reach out, expand yourself. Because if you're only good at one thing, it's not a bad thing necessarily. But if something goes wrong to where like that one thing doesn't pay out anymore, it's gonna be really rough when you're in. And that's kind of the reason why I'm diversifying now, because when the pandemic hit, I legit lost almost everything. Like, life has a very interesting way of humbling people, or a very interesting way of testing people. And for me, the pandemic was probably the biggest test of my life. That's how difficult it was for me personally. Like, I legit... If you're wondering how much I was struggling in 2020, I was just trying to figure out what to do with my life at this point. Like, it was just that frustrating. Like, I'm basically stuck with my parents. You know, graduated college, back at your parents' house, stuck. You're broke as hell. Your girlfriend just dumped you. You have no job. And you're just struggling, you know. I'm sure you can make... If you make some more vlogs, you can monetize the YouTube for another source of small passive. Then, I'm currently not making any vlogs right now, because right now, I'm actually trying to make a short commentary film of myself. I'm still making that short commentary film of myself, but it will be released sometime in the future. But really though, that film is going to be awesome for me personally. Not for you viewers maybe, but to me personally. Because this short commentary film about myself is going to describe... It's going to be about me talking about my life. From basically where things go wrong to where I am now. But for now, everybody, there's not going to be any more vlogs. Not until I complete that short commentary film, that I'm making. I don't know how long it'll be, but I just got to finish it because I want to tell my story up to this point. But not from the beginning, but basically from where this career stuff happens. It's going to be a very good one. I promise you that. Some of you may be inspired by it, some of you may not care, but for me, I just want to tell myself, because I'm I'm confident now, I guess. But I really don't want YouTube to be my main source of income, though, Vin. I'll say that again. I don't think YouTube is built to be a long-term sustaining business, if you understand what I'm saying. But everybody, this is getting kind of tiring. I guess I'm gonna go now. Without further ado, everybody, sorry that I'm cutting this one a bit short, but it's already late where I am. I do work tomorrow. So, as always, everybody, thanks for watching. And I will be live streaming again on Saturday. So stay tuned for that if you want to stay around. For Saturday, the plan is to talk about some anime in more depth. And also, probably teach a little bit of acting. Because I'm a stage actor for 9 years now, coming into voice acting. But as always, everybody, thanks for watching. See you on Saturday. And with that, that's really about it. See you.